Hi, it's Lisa, and in this video I want to talk about concat, which is a very common function used to concatenate text. So that's used to build text strings such as this one here where I say welcome back, and part of the text is set, like welcome back is the message that appears again and again, and the variable part of course is stored in a field, like in this case first name. So if I log in as Lisa, it's going to say welcome back Lisa. If somebody else logs in, it might say welcome back Peter. Concat is used in lots of different scenarios when you're building these text strings, welcome back messages, but also displays like the display you might have in mailing labels where you have, city, comma, state, or city, comma, country, that kind of thing. So let's go take a look. I'm going to go to the SQL tutorial in W3 Schools, and again, just a reminder, you can't just jump into one of the demos here and access the database. When you're using functions, you'll actually have to scroll down here to the functions area, otherwise they just won't work. So again, there's a couple of dialects of SQL, as you know. For example, MySQL, we see that when we use dbfiddle. And then also SQL Server, we see that when we use SQL Server Management Studio. So they have both of these because there's slight differences. Now for concat, it's actually the same, so it doesn't really matter which one you do. I'm going to just pick this first one. So concat is a text, so that they've categorized the functions, and so these are the text or string functions. And concat is one of those, so let's click on concat here. And we'll go right into this try it yourself. So they'll have usually a goofy tutorial, like just, showing you that they're building this text here. So the syntax of concat is basically just you put all the things you want to join together separated by commas. Now this is just goofy. You can run it and see that it builds that text string, but let's do something that you would do with one of these tables. I'm going to do one that is for the city and the country, and that comes from the customers table. So let's click on the customer table from here, and it'll just type the select for me, and it will run it automatically so I can take a look. So these customers have locations, a city and a country, and what I want to do is build a display field where it says city, comma, and then country. So that's going to build a whole new column, and then I'm going to call that column location. And that display might be helpful in things like mailing labels or other kinds of displays. Just to give you an example, if I were to look up weather, so let's say that I go to weather Seattle, right? We see that display in lots of places. So for example, here it's the Seattle weather, and it's got that city, comma, state, right? But if I look at other places, like if I go to look at Salem, Oregon, now we've got Salem, Oregon. So these are words that are coming from a big database of all the different cities and states, and it's the same kind of thing that we're about to do. It's got the city field, and then that's concatenated to a comma space, and then that is concatenated to the state here on the right. So we're going to do the same kind of thing. Okay. So we know the fields are city and country, and let's go build it. So I'm going to move the from down, just so it's a little easier to work with. And instead of the star here, we're going to build that display using concat. And any function has the word and then a set of parentheses, and then what goes inside is variable. When we look at concat, we know that all that goes inside are just different parts concatenated together, and each of those parts is separated by a comma. So I want city on the one side, and I want the country on the other. And I'm going to just run this, and you can see what it looks like. So you can see it did what it's supposed to do, but I've got the city shoved right against the country. So that doesn't look great. So instead I'm going to add another comma here. And for that second argument, I'm going to add quotes here for literal text that I want, and I want a comma space. So it's literally going to put a comma and space right in there between the city and the country. Now if I run this, That's looks better. That's what I want it to look like. City, comma, space, and then the country name. Now, it doesn't look great to have this as the column header, especially if you're going to print this out. And what I'd like to call this column is location. So I'm going to come up here and use the keyword as, which is used for aliases. You can give the column a name, and I'm going to call it location. And so then when I run, looks much better. I can also add a sort to this. So if I want to sort by location, I can do an order by and then do location. And you can see now I've got this ordered by those cities first. Now I may want to do something a little different. Instead of by location, I may want to order it first by country, right? And then by city. So let's try that. It's going to give me a little bit different sort order, and I might prefer to do that instead. So I don't have to sort by, even if I don't have those fields separately, I can sort by them. So you can see first it's putting Argentina together, and then within Argentina, well, I guess we've just got one city. Let's look at another one. So Belgium. So here's Belgium, right? But you can see within Belgium, it's alphabetizing those different cities. Okay. So in addition to this, sometimes we don't want just this one display of the location field. We want some other fields as well. I'm going to move this down and then tab over just so it's a little easier. And what I'm going to do is add another field. So I'll hit enter and tab over here. And I'm going to add the customer name and then a comma. And then I'll run. Because maybe what I'd like to do is display the customer name and then the location. I'm also going to add that to the order by. So I'm ordering first by country, then by city, and then within the city, like here's Buenos Aires, I'd like to keep the customer names in alphabetical order. So I'm going to add here sort by customer name. Okay. And some of them are already sorted that way, but now it assures me that in first it sorts by Argentina, and then within Argentina it's going to sort by city. There's just one city, Buenos Aires, and then it's going to sort for each city. It's going to sort the customer names in alphabetical order here. All right, so that gives you a sense of how you might use Concat to build these kinds of displays that might be useful. City, comma, country, city, comma, state, that's definitely one common thing you might do with Concat. And that's it for this video.